Okay.
Got it. Now
So, hi, Falk. Thank you so much for joining me on the Founder's Predicament, and for your artistic direction, which said not to blur the background. So, folks, if it's like a messy background for you, you can blame Falk. You can't.
Yes. I just say open and honest always. That is now the maximum openness and honesty that we can have.
Okay.
Enjoy the show.
So Falk is the founder of LowCoder and primary developer for LowCoder by the look of the GitHub commits, right? It's mostly you, right?
I would feel ashamed if it's the case.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not a good developer.
Oh.
I do help a lot of commits to pass through as a last audience to look for that, to check everything is okay. But I'm not the only one. So we have now, it seems, 17 people. They contributed, in the amount and the volume. I do push it a lot. That is true.
Okay. Well, and tell me about LowCoder. What is it?
The easiest way to express it is actually very funny. The LowCoder is the perfect tool to be lazy. we're getting very ingenious if it comes to laziness. We invented cars to not walk, satellites to not make long calls, and so on. So we're getting extremely good in that. With LowCoder, you build applications in a fraction of time, like standard way, and a fraction of headache of standard classic application building.
Right.
And that is mainly one promise that you have. The platform itself helps to build any kind of applications very fast, rapidly. This is low code, less code, not too much to build. 10% of the time maybe you need. That's core promise, let's say, number one.
Okay, that's great. So, and what level of expertise do you need to use LowCoder?
That is an interesting question. You can put things together by almost no knowledge, but you should be able to think a little bit structured, have a good hand with data, JSON, for example, and you should a little bit understand JavaScript. That helps. That is already programming, if you like to use so. You can do a lot of that without, but you will feel corners that you want to automate something, or you want to correct something, or that it reacts in conditions and other stuff. So it's helpful to use JavaScript. And that's a very widespread knowledge. It's easy to write. A lot of people learn it, especially what we call citizen developers. So actually, members of business units and divisions. They don't know to program, but they certainly know how to use Excel and inserting formulas. The next step is a bit of JavaScript, and you're good to go.
Okay, excellent. So let's take a step back, because I know LowCoder is not your first venture. And I had a look at your website, which is falkwolsky.com, is it?
See, yes.
Yes, okay. And I see you developed a pen that helps students learn, and you did a couple of other things. I think one was making Excel more visual. And I didn't go much deeper than that, but do you want to tell me about those earlier projects? Which of those is your, well, first of all, tell me a little bit about those projects, and then expand on your favorite.
I love them all. The ice box where all the projects sleeping that I want to do is so big that I need a truck to move it. That is a classic thing of these poor founders. I did start early with design, media and design. I'm a creator of things. I like this. I helped companies to build a brand, making all the visual presentations and so on. And then they said, can we do websites? I said, yeah, I can do. I made websites for them. Can we have a web shop? Yeah, I can do. I made a web shop for them. So in fact, over the years, I did so much different things in programming, in integration of systems, in digital publishing, in 3D rendering, and so on. And then when you have this broad field, then you have ideas. And actually, by the knowledge that you gather over the years, you also know a way how to do. So you imagine this could be solved like this, and then you get a feeling for it and you go for it. That is cool, but it has, for myself, the big problem of all is that I was quite frequent too early. That is a pity, because good projects not in time are still not good projects at all. The idea may be amazing, and in 10 years someone else comes with it and you bite your popo because you was just too early. It was not the time, and this happens quite often. Some of the projects was actually good in time. For example, this pen. It was a brilliant thing. Let me check if I have a pen here. No pen here. So it was actually a pen that could vibrate when you make a mistake in spelling. That means that in this small pen, there was a whole computer, small mini computer, a whole lexicon for language, the understanding what the tip of the pen does, the transferring into a handwriting recognition engine, a spell checking, and the small vibration motor. It was extraordinary. And we made it to a point when it was actually working. We had the working prototype, and still we failed to raise capital enough to do it. And it was a bit of a pity. I will not blame that this is everything. I made, as a young founder, millions of mistakes and millions of brilliant moves. Both is always the point. But one thing I will not forget, I said that time, guys, we have to go to US. This is a deep tech. This is really heavy. This is something very complex. I needed more than 10 developers for different specialties, fields of knowledge that has to come together. And the financing for that is not easy in Europe, especially not in Germany. You get the answer, we give you money if it's on the market. I said, then I am on the market. I don't need, I need now, right? So I shaked my wife. Let's go to America. They don't speak German. No. I shaked my team. Let's go to America. No, we don't want. I said, I try. Result is I actually lose everything. So we had a working prototype with a technology that till now is not repeated. It was absolutely fantastic, and it would have such an impact still. But I did not get enough money to fulfill and to bring it to the market. That was very sad, and still a learning on the way how to do.
Well, it's not too late. If nobody's done it, it's not too late to revive it, is it?
It is now 10 years ago, and I have a very easy saying. And let's see how is your reach in this podcast. I said always, if someone gives me 5 million, I can. Because that is the amount, and I raised that time 1.2 million. That is really not enough. You cannot make it to market because you have so much to do, from industrial design, plastic molding, development of a microcomputer, programming of that microcomputer, programming of applications, making all design, website, branding, boxing, packaging, service, if this thing gets kaput, if it's have a damage and so on, so that the field is really big. That is not an easy startup. When you code something, make a website, and it runs. That's not the case. So it is so complex that I would do it again, but only under these conditions. Under it will end again into money shortage, and you cannot do it.
So you can't do it. So because it's a physical product? Is that because it's a physical product? That's what drives up the cost, right, for investors?
Physical product adds a lot of costs because you have a lot of production costs that people do not guess in the beginning before you actually start. Plastic molding machine has to be, and production side has to be very individualized and so on. But also the sheer fact that multiple directions of knowledge has to come together. You need someone who's great in machine learning. You need someone who's great in hardware engineering. Sensor hardware is a completely different field. You need someone who can program apps, websites. You need someone who can program language catalogs. So that also makes it complex. It was a very complex product in one. That is my small, let's say, I have my challenge with that because I'm a Capricorn in the zodiac sign. So with the head through the wall, even if it's unthinkable, it's too complex, I will still go for it. It's not always smart, but that was the point. So it is really complex, much more complex than a big data product, for example, or an other physical product. Even other physical products can be easier, than the combination of everything in one single pen.
Right. Right.
What is good? The landscape, that actually it motivates me. But don't talk to me too much about it. The landscape of sensors did change, and now in the mass market are sensors available. They are cheaper and they are much more accurate. We could build this pen way better than in earlier times, slimmer, more long-lasting for battery life, more accurate in handwriting recognition. So it would be amazing. So, but
okay.
I said,
well, you've got other things. You've got other things on the boil right now. So
yes.
Let's leave the pen alone. Are there any other earlier projects that you would like to mention, like honorable mentions? I think the pen is probably. I mean, I had a look, and the pen really appealed to me. But it sounds like it really appeals to you too. But what other babies, like previous babies, would you like to give an honorable mention to?
Actually, we can say that all the past somehow accumulate into LowCoder. Whatever I touched was else in the Lernstift digital products. And they all was about application and representation of content in an easy way. As I tried to tell you, I'm a very lazy person. That is good because I solve problems the most easy way. But I don't like to develop much. It's kind of, I'm not the born developer, so I want easier ways, LowCoder. And all my life, I was looking for the possibility of declarative programming, of user interface driven applications that can be understood not only by developers, but also by management and by other people that do not know necessarily to code. Not everyone is a skilled developer. And that is surrounding all my life. This data product you have seen, Data Wunder, was actually a user interface for data, a wonderful display in a new way, how to look into a huge amount of data, how to understand fast what you have in data in front of you. Very cool, actually.
That problem, I think, has been solved many times since, right?
No, the way how what I grabbed that time was called InfoZoom from Germany. That was a Fraunhofer project. The way how they display data is still not brought in the market. And it's still a way how to understand data better. You have charts, you have geomaps, you have all kind of visualization, but nobody is in the capability to make your understanding 1 million data rows fast, to grab what is in and how the amount of data is balanced and what is in. Have a look to InfoZoom. You will see that there is a visualization out there that is not well known because not too much people set on this, but extraordinarily powerful. And I built a web server infrastructure to bring this into the web. So that was my project, because that time it was only available as Java application for the desktop.
Oh, I see. So I just lost internet connectivity and I haven't had time to clean up my room, as you can see. So, but Falk is back and I'm back. And I was just asking him about his background. So, Falk, did you go to Fachhochschule in Germany?
Actually, it's a very interesting question, and I did not. I did not go to any higher school after the standard school, normal degree. And the reason was very simple. Since for sure I'm 10, I take every machine in its parts, I put it together and it still works. I'm very, very interested in any details. I'm a very technological driven person. I'm very futuristic on the one hand. I understood that on university, I will learn how things work. And the problem with that is that it sets a frame into my mind, because then I know how things work. I will eventually improve that, but I will never make some invention out of the green grass anymore because I know how things work. So I decided before of that to not go in this direction, but do everything and learn everything by myself. So I'm a pure autodidact. The languages, the programming languages, the system architecture, everything. So I
let me stop you there for a minute, because this is very unusual for a German. I'm half German, so I understand the German education system a little bit. I also, my university had an exchange with Hannover Fachhochschule, which is so German higher education is split into two. You have universities and you have Fachhochschule. The Fachhochschule are more oriented towards technical careers, and whereas if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or philosopher, you probably go to a university. So everything's kind of split. And then even before that, you have Mittlere Reife, and that's like O levels, or I guess 8th grade test in the US, and that determines which high school you go to. And then you can go to one of two different kinds of high school: gymnasium, which leads you to university, or what's the other one?
No, there is no. You have the classic way and go with called Realschule.
Yeah,
so
Realschule. Yeah, okay.
But it's still 10 degree, and then you go for job education, Ausbildung.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So with Realschule, you're pointed towards a vocational career, and this is what Germany's so good at, is producing highly skilled technicians. So you do you become a Lehrling, and then you become a Meister, and that's the technical. That's the whether you want to be a painter or an electrician or a carpenter, you follow those. Or even my cousin's son is now a Karosseriewerk Meister, right? So he can build his own car from scratch, basically, and he has done. Anyway, sorry about the. I just wanted to fill you in on. So it's so unusual for a German to become an autodidact, as Falk has said. I mean, it's unusual in any country, but in particular in Germany, it's there's very structured routes for you to progress, and if you don't follow one of those routes, you're really a bit of an outcast. Sorry, I might be overstating things.
I agree to that. Most likely, I agree, and that has advantages and disadvantages, as usual in life, right? So you have some things. I don't want it to have a mind in the box, and I kept this, and I was quite successful with that. I don't want to say that everyone who is not going away like me has a mind in the box, but university lead typically into that. Also, I want to add something that was quite clear. I knew I will go in technical IT direction. Computer was very fascinating early. Like, very super interesting how this works. And the universities are years behind. Not all, but most of the universities cannot actually teach what you have to learn in a modern way. I was a bit shocked. I had as a tutor students from one university in Germany. Everyone was super engaged, but they that time, and it was now 4 years back, they write plain SQL queries in Java to execute. I was kind of, that is not what you do. No, that is very old. This we did kind of really 15 years back or something. And as IT develops extremely fast, you cannot. The education does not help you to go to the market of software application and feel home there. You need to learn completely new, because that knowledge is already decades old, which is not how to say. It's very hard to do, because you would need constantly to keep things very current, and that is a challenge anyhow. But that I had feeling I had when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. I felt that this will be the case. So better I learn what is current instead of got to know what is eventually already past. That is strongly connected to my decision.
I would agree with that. I have come across many recent graduates from programs here, and they're learning old stuff. They're not really learning. They have to relearn everything. It's like you spend 4 years getting a degree, and then you have to spend the next 18 months bringing your skill set up to date. So that is, I agree completely with what you're saying. Yeah, I've come across the same issue. It's interesting. Anyway, so I think you've kind of touched on this, but what led you to start up LowCoder? What problem are you solving? I think you've touched on this already, but could you expand on that a little bit?
I solve actual 2 problems. One is very visionary, and one is very current. Let's start with the current one. I have a long history to support people in declarative development, the development of mostly UI-driven way, because the business folks, the developers, we all just want to express, very easy, something that we want to see alive as a function of something, as a service of something, or some digital things that we dream about, right? Some people just want to collect in a form some data and put it somewhere in a database. Some other people want to have a whole business process with if else then and decisions and marketing, whatever. But we all use programming code to express what we actually want, imperative. I don't like this because when you do declarative or even visually driven, you're way faster to your goal and you understand what you do. You can look inside. The
So-
business folks, the developers.
Hold on
Yeah.
one sec. So explain what you mean by declarative.
We have, for example, let's say a huge business process expressed in Java. Programmers was written 3 months on that and it works. It's fantastic. It's microservice. You install it and it runs. Very good. The business manager has no chance to look into it and change it because he don't even understand what's inside of the Java box. For him, it's a black box. He can only go to his developers and say, well, in this, in this case, it should behave this different. And then the guys, again, open the blocks, programming, pushing new version, and that's it. Declarative is a bit different. There are languages like BPMN, for example, or visual flow language, or visual builders of applications that produce as an outcome, not direct software, but descriptive language about the process. Like BPMN is a visual model that is executable. That is a way of declarative development. Also, when you have a database structure, for example, classic database model, and your API will follow automatically every change the database does. It's also declarative. You express in the tool, and the rest of the chain will follow. That is a bit of a principle of declarative development. So you don't imperatively fix yourself in the code with exactly this solution, but you modeling what you want, and rest of tool chain adapt and follow to it. Let's say like this, when people build in low-code an application, they take components and place it on the canvas. Under the hood, it's all JavaScript. But doing so, nobody need ever to build a programming for a table or programming how the image should behave. No, it's declarative. You say, this is my image, the background is white, and if somebody click on, then this and that should happen. And then, in fact, this gets interpreted in runtime, executed. So you don't see the JavaScript that's underneath. You don't touch it even, but it's still there. It's declarative. And the same with BPMN, for example, you make an easy graphical model of things, which is executable. You don't touch the machine under it. Who executes it? You're not interested. You trust this machine will do well. So you see only the model. Why is this relevant? Because in big companies, but also between me and you, not everyone can program. In fact, a fraction of the people can program. A lot of people have nevertheless business ideas. They know what they actually want. They dream of a new product or service that they would like to have. And this is why low-code systems in general got so famous, because now finally the middle management and the people can build solutions and services for their clients, customers, or in the company without developers. That takes a little bit of the power from developers and distributes it. Siemens call citizen developers. Everyone can be a developer, which brings us back why this product names LowCoder, because everyone can now be someone who can build a low-code application, LowCoder. So that is the idea, to not really to democratize this thing. Now, I don't like this word because everyone did democratize something. No, we want that more business people can easier build their own applications without the strong dependency and missing transparency of the classic way of application development. That's the main goal number one. I want to make it easier and faster.
Okay. What was there a second part to that?
Yeah, there's a second part to that, and that is the vision. I dream since a long time that we all can work and experience things together online in a different way. What do I mean by that? In the moment here, we do have a meeting. We use a software called Zoom. We can choose between Teams, Google Meets, Jitsi, Wire, whatever. We can choose this software and we can have a video meeting. Can we do in this video meeting on this screen here, open a Google Sheet and edit it together same time? We cannot. we are bound, because that would mean another window where we can do it certainly together, but we lose our video. So actually, I dream since a while to combine communication and working into one single action. Because today, everyone is forced to sit in meetings, kind of losing the time, because you can either meet and align and later on work, but you cannot do it together. There is no such thing in the moment like fluent interaction during we meet. It comes, it emerges, but this I'm up to since roughly 5 years. I was working a lot of concepts in a German company for that, which actually uses LowCoder now too. Very proud of this. And in LowCoder, I made sure we do have already the possibility for video meetings. And now comes the catch. We have built a low-code possibility to build your own meeting tool. So actually, not only the table and the image and the chart you put to your Surface canvas, but also the video meeting stream of you, the sharing screen of another one, and the list of participants, and you build it how you want it. You don't like the buttons from Zoom because they are red and small, so you build your own buttons, blue and big, wherever you want. However, if you already can put meeting to a canvas, you can put next to it, in the order you want, the application itself. May it be to help in customer service when people struggle with very big forms, we can help by that. I had Spanish bank, I live in Spain, and Spanish bank asked me, please fill out this form. Can I translate this form? No, it's purely Spanish. Can I use copy paste for it? No, it's blocked. So I actually had to go through roughly 100 fields all in Spanish. I don't know. I need help. In this moment, it was a website. It would be fantastic if next to this form, just I could talk to a support guy and he see what I do in real time and go with me through the fields. Say, here you fill this, here you fill that, and so on. With the LowCoder, exactly this is now possible. So the bigger vision is doing things together. So soon we roll out the brand. Actually, it's called Together. So we'll make a lot of this from working, gaming, education, support, doing things together.
So I understand what you're saying, but I do think you're being a little uncharitable to the existing tools, because if you have two screens, you can share one of them, you can still see the video, and you can work through a Google Doc or whatever, or together.
That is a fantastic scenario, but in fact, it's first, nobody has always two screens around. We are technical. I have even 3 or multiple 4 screens, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But the average guy doesn't have multiple screens, so we still choke. And the problem is like this. The problem is a bit of attention. Look, I have a second screen. We talk. I work on my second screen. What impression that makes in our video meeting for you? Am I here or not? That's shitty. And NVIDIA told you how to solve it, so I look like this and I still somehow have the eyes on you. That is cool, and there is solutions to this question. But mainly, when we have these meeting tools, we are pretty much bound. What we have as a big direction in LowCoder is, by the push to this communication, we want actually to merge 4 categories of tools. We want to merge application builder, website builder, meeting builder, and the last is slides and presentation builder, because they're quite close. In the moment, it's fragmented. You use Google Slides, Google Pages, or PowerPoint, or Canva. It's one class of tools. You use meeting tools. It's one class of tools, right? You use website tools, WordPress or whatever, and then you use an application building tools. Now, when you have them all together, then you can finally build a fluent stream of data and communication from the customer on the website to your CRM system in the back. It's one system in future. And this is quite a bigger picture where I set on by the ability to build applications, including video, and put this all to the website. I took over Open Blocks as it was dying, made LowCoder out of that, because it's the only tool right now that you can put online into a website natively. It gets to the website. You can build websites with that. That is something extraordinary, because then you have interactive websites that already have parts from the data world as application, surrounded by meeting, And even you can make kind of presentation slides. I made last investor presentation with LowCoder. It looks very fluent. They didn't understand. Just in the end, I opened the screen and say, here, this is how I build it. Oh, interesting. So it's a different way.
So
that's a bigger vision.
Let me ask you a little bit about open source, because I hope you can answer this question. So you've chosen to open source. I think everything is open source, or you have two different levels. I'm not sure. Do you have everything open source, or is it two different levels? Like the latest stuff is closed, and then
no. We are here, and we see your background. The background, because I said my general personality is always open and honest. We had these discussions certainly internally to say we have a community edition, we have an enterprise edition. Should we open source? Yes, we should go open source. It's a matter of trust. You should have the possibility to look what we do. It's already for security audit important that we don't have any black box. So we do have the enterprise version very soon ready, and it will be still open source. You just cannot use it freely. The license say you have to talk with us before you can use, but it will be still open source. The community edition is open source. You can do whatever you want with it.
Okay, so what's the difference in terms of functionality between the two?
Mainly, when you see open source community edition, it has all what you need to build application, but it is not. You can use it in enterprise, but a lot of things you will miss as an enterprise. For example, you will miss to bind it to your Active Directory or LDAP system, classic enterprise feature. For example, you need an audit log to exactly see which employee did one change, what in which app. Audit log, classic feature for enterprise. For example, you want to see how apps was used in the company or externally. You need a dashboard like Google Analytics for it. So there are a lot of extended functions, like environments, for example. I have a dev test prod staging environment. Not everyone in the community edition need that, but enterprises need it certainly. And support. LowCoder is good and accepted in the moment because we try our best to deliver in very short time support, minutes, hours maximum. And the package next to special functions that are related to enterprise is also to be sure to get this support from us. We will hire 3 people in 3 different time zones. So we have really 24-hour support for everyone on that. So this very important promise to help enterprises to install, to operate, to run, to build applications from us. This is part of the promise that we have, part of the enterprise version.
So enterprise is going to be your income stream. So the income is going to come from enterprise, not from community.
For LowCoder, yes, exactly. The community edition, we want it to be free. We will keep it free. Even on lowcoder.cloud, it's free service. You can just use it. People do it, and we are happy to have an increasing amount of people actually building there. Clearly, that is a jump board. People say, oh, that's cool, amazing, I can try, so now I install myself. That happens very frequent. It's exactly like we wanted. Yeah. And some of them may use features that are more enterprise related, or just say already for the security that we do know we are able in 5 years to use it, because it's always an investment. They want a contract, they want a license, and that is exactly what we do.
Right. Let me ask you, so going back to my prepared questions, what have you learned? What have you learned over the past, I'm not sure how long you've been at this game, but I would say 10 years at least, right? 10, 15 years. What have you learned, and what would you do differently if you could start again? Would you do anything differently?
With LowCoder, I would not do differently. With LernStift, I think yes. With this pen, that times in my wish to get it to the street, my co-founder said, you are like a DJ on this mixing pult, but you put everything on maximum loudness. It's crazy. Every possible is to the last. You try to speed it up, and he's right about it. I was burning too fast money in having a too big team. So we had 20 people, which was for a startup a lot.
Yes.
I thought I need everyone because of these special knowledge fields. But eventually I should have 5 or 6. and try to educate us with them into these knowledge fields, and try to drive it by that. That will slow down immensely. And now you have this trade of time versus development versus money, not in triangle that I could solve that time. And so I'm not sure what I would do different. But in the moment, I'm doing exactly this differently. We have a small team. Now we are 6 people.
Okay.
6
No,
people.
I was just going to ask you how many.
Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of purely invested in the moment by me. So that I'm running this because you need the support behind it. The pure open source would not come up. It's kind of, it needs a long time and way till you have the engagement of 3 people doing and making it for the love. Let's say that is takes a while. So it was clear that I have to put my efforts into it. I did. Here I would not do much different. The tech stack is good. I also would not change this, so that's okay. Let's see how we are in 2 years and 5 years. If I then understand what I did wrong. So for today, I'm feeling good with it.
Feeling good, yeah. Okay.
And so to be careful about the resources is certainly a learning I did. And I can say that in LowCoder, I was trying too hard, too fast, with too much people. And there would have been eventually a different way. And way
you mean with the pen, not with LowCoder?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We don't know. There is no A/B testing, so we cannot know would that work if it takes longer, but with a smaller people amount. Maybe. So we don't know. But this would be the learning.
Let me ask you. So I know there's a bunch of questions I wanted to ask you about revenue and exit strategy, and we're not going to talk about those today. That's fine. Maybe we can do that another time. But let me ask you about AI. So obviously AI came out 15 months ago, or I mean, it's been around a lot longer than that, but it came to the public attention with the generative AI tool, ChatGPT. So how do you see that affecting your work, customers, IT in general? Where do you see this going in the next 2 or 3 years? Because I think it's gonna affect a lot. But what do you?
Yes, it will be a bumpy ride, like we say it when we fly through a very heavy thunderstorm. Actually, I think there are more chances, and especially with low-code platforms, I don't feel affected now. Because all tries to build applications purely by AI still showing that it will not be enough to build business enterprise-like level of application. That is not yet thinkable, but it will come. That end somewhere in the nearest 5 or 10 years, the lifetime of these low-code systems rapidly. Everyone. That will come and it's to expect, but it's not yet there, so we use the time in between. However, it is very smart to put AI on top of this platform because AI can say you what to do if she has something to execute. And if there is a system that is prepared to put a table or a chart to the canvas, then you can use AI to do so. I don't trust that AI is now in the capability to build me the system, to build a low-code system. That you cannot, it's too complex. But if it's there, you can use AI to automate a lot and pay in for the promise that you can build even faster applications. And this we will do this year, like many others. We will make steps to enable people just expressing what they want, and we're creating automatically bigger parts of an application. That doesn't help for anything because still data sources have to be there, have to be accessible, have to get queried. Sometimes AI can help, but not for all of its steps. But we will use AI heavily to automate even further what people today do by hand and LowCoder. And there will be a time when the AI is so far developed, or the usage of AI, that it can build even a whole low-code application. Then we're out of the game, but this is not yet the case. So you can measure how good they can build business applications. And right now we are in, hey, we made a button. It's kind of a bit harsh in saying, because there was very interesting experiments with this small orange device. They showed this small AI-driven, not smartphone, but They call it the large action model, LAM. And they say by interpreting natural language, they can say what is to do as process or as user interface even. And there is a development. We follow that day by day. And I can see the end of low code or classic systems, but it's still far enough away to not get afraid. Make solutions now, help people now. I can wait in 10 years, it's the case, but that does not help my customers that want to build applications now. So better we help them now, and everything to support them.
So in 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, whenever it happens, that you say, take a look at this database. This is the business need. This is what I need. Build me, just like you do now. Like I do this for contracts all the time. For contracts, I just put it into ChatGPT. I say, this is a basic contract. I need to change it for this, and and it does a great job. But once you can do that with applications, what do we do? What do people like? What do developers do? Where do we go from there?
I'm not sure if this is the right question, even if it's for sure from profound mind from you. We are all about to change in our society, have multiple angles, and AI is only one of that. 3D printing is another one, silently very successful and already shaped whole industries. Agriculture fundamentally to change, and also we heading through bumpy rides. Yes, developers feeling safe eventually today, and they have all rights because in the moment they're not replaceable. But when I see to my sons, I have 4 sons now, I could not suggest them to get lawyer. I could not suggest them to get into IT. I could not simply suggest them a lot of jobs already, because I understand in the middle of their life, they have to break completely the career. But eventually that's okay. Eventually that's good. The philosophical approach to that is, in the end, maybe something fantastic happen. Maybe by all AI, robotics, and all other innovations, we humans come back to take care more about humans. That would be fantastic. So maybe we have time now to take care about us. When you see the salary distribution for care workers, they get an extraordinarily big salary for a reason. Because you can have a robot massaging your back, but you will not feel something very good next to the musculation. Yes, but it's still a machine. And I believe as long as humans are social animals, this effect will stay. And we do have a lot of change. Developers turn into something else. Truck drivers turn into something else. We will not disappear all, but we have to reorient ourselves. But I think we take care more about humans at the end of the day.
I hope you're right. That's a really nice vision. That's a really nice vision of the future. So, yeah. Was there anything else you'd like to say while we're still together on the call? Anything else you'd like to talk about? Or
I'm not big in advertisement. However, this year we actually will make steps in marketing advertisement for LowCoder. Platform is in a good shape, is ready, is good to scale and to grow now. We will also raise and receive money as an investment for it. It's very cool. And we will attack existing low-code platforms with new, fresh approaches, like I told you, for example, in merging these different application domains. Nobody else do in effects. So we're creating a little bit of our own blue ocean for it, and it could be quite interesting. And I'm happy to see this growing. So that is just the invitation for everyone to look to us, to try it, and to come with us on this very interesting journey.
Okay, well, that's great. Thank you so much, Falk, for joining me on the Founder's Predicament. And interesting journey. Let's check in a few years and see where you are.
Yes, exactly. Let's hope that the trading curse is like NVIDIA right now. That would be something.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.